Like a car, you would think, oh, well, it's a really expensive car. If it's older, it's gonna have all kinds of problems and I should avoid it. That's true for a car, but not the case at all for one of these. It is the complete opposite, and I cannot stress that enough. So it occurred to me that some of you from race car world, where probably the majority of my followers come from, you might not know what I'm talking about when I say Newell. Like this motorhome, I guess you want to call it, is a Newell coach. Go over all the terms, the brands and stuff, just to kind of get you up to speed on what this is, what I'm talking about, just the general gist of the high-end RV world, for lack of a better term. If you call one of these an RV, you might offend somebody who has one, because they call it a motor coach. That's like the fancy word for it. Or you call a Newell a bus, they'll be like, no, it's a coach. It's a motor coach. It's not a bus. A Prevost a bus. Well, what's a Prevost? A Prevost, if you're fancy, you call it that. Some people call them Prevost or Prevost. It looks like it's spelled Prevost, but it's like a French Canadian word. Prevost is the proper pronunciation. Those are the buses that everybody assimilates with, like a tour bus. The ones with the stainless down the sides, a real classic, like over-the-road commercial bus look. They have those. Prevost has two styles. The one with the stainless down the sides is the X chassis, X platform. Like the 90s ones were the XL40, XL45, and then into the early 2000s they switched over to the XL2, which keeps the same stainless look, but it's a lot more modern looking. And the other marquee model they have that a lot of people see all the time, they don't notice, is the H platform. The H345 and some of the rarer like H340s. That's just how long it is, 45 or 40. Those are the ones that a lot of the NASCAR drivers have. They got real tall front windows, huge storage bays, and NASCAR drivers primarily have Prevosts and Newells. A Newell is not a bus conversion. A Prevost is a bus conversion. Prevosts are built to be passenger buses, and then the running driving shells are sold to converters who build them into recreational vehicles. They put all the stuff in them. So it's built to be a bus and outfitted with RV stuff. Where a Newell is built from the ground up to be this. Hand built in the same place by the same people in Miami, Oklahoma. There's another term that you're going to get roasted if you pronounce it wrong. It's Miami. It looks like it says Miami, but if you're from Oklahoma, it's Miami. So we're going to call it that for now. That's where they're built. They're hand built from the frame to the paint out the door on the same piece of property. I've seen it. I've been there. The people are awesome. And they only build coaches to order. They don't build spec units. Like, you can't go to Camping World and buy a Newell. You can't go to Camping World and buy a Prevost either. But there are a lot more Prevosts than Newells. Like, if you're a car guy, you get like Prevost and Newell are like the Bentley and Rolls Royce of these things. Like, they are the end of the road. If you got all the money in the world and you want something that's the best you can get at what these do, that's it. One or the other. No questions asked. That's all there is. And a lot of misconception goes along with these things is that, like a car, you would think, oh, well, it's a really expensive car. If it's older, it's going to have all kinds of problems and I should avoid it. That's true for a car, but not the case at all for one of these. It is the complete opposite, and I cannot stress that enough. Nobody seems to understand this, and I deal with this all the time because I've been on the search for one of these things for the better part of a year now, and I'd be telling people, yeah, I'm looking for like a 90s Prevost or a Newell, and they're like, oh, it's really old. It's gonna break all the time. Oh, that's gonna have all kinds of problems. It sounds like a terrible idea. And, well, first of all, every RV has problems. Every RV breaks all the time. It's just what they do. They all need work. Even a brand new one needs work. They're just constant evolving projects. There's always something. There's just so much stuff in here. There's always something to do. But the thing is when you get into these two, especially Prevost and Newell, they are built with like residential level stuff. Like this countertop, it's hard. This is leather. The roof is leather. These cabinets are like real. That's the only door figures I grabbed that actually wiggles in here. The rest of them are tight. Everything is of like a residential quality construction. These are all like, it's not particle board. It doesn't move. It is rock solid. It's got like tile floor. I don't know if that's some kind of marble or what, but it looks cool. This is a 96. If you walk into Camping World and go look at like your run-of-the-mill Winnebago or something, like you're gonna open drawers, you're gonna find particle board in the bottom of the floors. A lot of stuff is gonna be held with like staples and just self-tappers, and it's gonna be a lot of really economical minded stuff. Even like the appliances, like this has a regular residential refrigerator. It is like straight out of a house from 1996, but it's still a house, where you don't get that with the box store motorhomes. And the same goes for Prevost. But the key difference here is you can't say, oh well, Newells are better than Prevost better than Newell because of the interior or whatever. Where Newell builds theirs from the ground up, that's all one thing. Prevost, totally different. Prevost is not responsible for what goes inside those things as far as the motorhome part of it goes. That's on the converter. So it's an unfair comparison to say, oh, Prevost interiors are not as good as Newell, or vice versa, because there's different manufacturers of the Prevost, technically. As a general whole, I think the 90s for 90s, like what was in my price range, I like the Newells better. They seem to be more modern, they age better. There's a lot more room in here. And something I noticed with the, because I'm a tall guy, I'm 6'5", there's more headroom in a Newell than the Prevost, especially in the X chassis, because there weren't very many H's in the 90s. In the X, there were almost none of them that could stand up straight in the shower. Like, almost none, especially the country coaches. They put too much crap on the roof and to like decorate it, and it brings the ceiling height down. Which I'm just rolling off the cuff here. I got no notes, no structure for this, nothing. But that reminds me of a good point. Some of the converters for Prevost that you may have heard of or you'll see a lot of, the well-known ones would be like Liberty, Marathon, Country Coach. They're non-existent now, but they did conversions. They also had their own mass production models. Like my dad had a couple Country Coach Magnas when I was growing up, and they were really nice. And that's kind of in the, you got like your Prevost Newell, and then right below that you got like Country Coach Magna, Affinity, like I guess like upper end, like the top level Newmar, top level Monaco. Like you'll see those in the high line used coach dealerships, but you won't see, you know, lesser stuff like big 45-foot tag axle. It's probably pretty nice, but it's like the S class to the Rolls Royce of what these are. The main difference between the Prevost Newell class and the RV dealership mass production class is not only the way they're built on the inside, but the outside. Most coaches, like Country Coach Magnet, for example, it's a fiberglass shell. The sides are fiberglass, and if you leave them outside for a long period of time, they will start to dry out and you'll get checking in the paint, and it's just not good for them. Whereas the Newells are aluminum. The outside paneling is aluminum. And on the Prevost of the X chassis, they are stainless steel. So they're a lot more weather resistant over time in that sense. Another cool thing about the Prevost is they are made of stainless steel. The whole thing. The frame is stainless steel, and it's of a monocoque construction, so that like the chassis is part of the roof and everything. They're extremely safe. They're really rigid. They're the best driving ones on the market. I haven't driven a ton of these, but I test drove a few. I drove a quad slide 2002 Newell, and then right after that I drove a 1995 Marathon Prevost XL 40 foot, and within the first 30 feet of driving the Prevost, I was like, wow, this is nice. Like, it was just no comparison. It was such a nice driving bus, and that's exactly why it's a passenger bus. It's designed to drive 1,000,000 miles, to be used all the time. The bay doors are rigid because you got people unloading and loading their crap all the time. It's meant for like high duty cycle, high use, high volume, high traffic. It's a commercial bus. So that's one of the pros to them. Where you go to the Newell, you get a lot more living space, I think. And it's just designed better for living in. So for my situation, I'm gonna be full-time living in whatever I get, which is gonna be this one. And after looking around, I really felt like a Newell was a better option. Because of that, it's better geared towards the living end of things and not the traveling end of things. Not that these things don't drive great, they drive really, really well. But just the X chassis Prevost of the 90s are just on another level. You could ask just about anybody that, and they'll tell you the same thing. Even the guys at Newell are like, those things are really, really good. And I've gotten to know a lot of the people at Newell, and some of them might even watch this video. They're awesome people, and that was another reason that I really wanted a Newell over a Prevost. Is the network of Newell owners is so tightly knit that you would not believe it. Like, there's a forum, Newell Gurus, and basically everything you would ever need to know about one of these things is on there. And if it's not on there, you can ask somebody, and they will go out of their way to help you learn it. I've learned that firsthand. Awesome people. Well, that's that. I'm really glad I got a Newell. I'm really enjoying being a part of the community so far. And just the resources for help and questions and everything is totally awesome. As you can see there, I polished my wheels, and I didn't put the rear cap back on yet. It's all the Escalade sitting there. Let's check these out. I just used the mother's like Powerball thing, the little red one. It worked really well. But yeah, I'll be making more videos about this thing, more stuff about the Escalade, uploading almost daily now. So hit that subscribe button, leave a comment, tell me what you want to see more of.